Hello my friends, this is Chaos Angel, also known as Lord of Omni, and we have got quite the amount of stuff to look at tonight. We have quite a lot. Now, I just want to point out that I have been very busy with real life aspects, not really going to delve into that too much, but what we're going to be looking at is essentially some of the videos that has pretty much been just flying everywhere on Stormblood's media tour and the content that various people who were invited there that was recorded. And so we have about like a few people that I'm actually going to be taking a look at and what they have given us thus far. And it is going to be MTQCapture or Ms. Tech. Basically a go-to person for all sorts of guides for raids, dungeons, and 24-man raids. So, and not to mention the fact that we'll also be looking at Mr. Happy, another person who is a go-to channel for any form of Final Fantasy XIV relevant content. So, with that in mind, I just want to let you guys know that with all the work that they have put in, I want you to go and take a look at their video, give them a like, support them, give them some love, thank them for everything that they have done, and especially giving us all of this, all the juicy bits of the information that we have been waiting for, that is Stormblood. And now with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start this video. We are going to be taking a look at some of the skills for the Red Mage for this video. We're going to be starting with the Red Mage, then transitioning into Samurai in the next vid. I won't be able to do any of the other vids tonight. We will probably be going through the tanks the next day in order for me to pretty much get things in a good form of orders. So we're just going to be going through actual roles here. And again, just want to point out to make sure to take a look at the original source video. It's going to be in the link. Go ahead and give them a like, shoot it for them, and let's go ahead and get into this now. And this thing's not cooperating with me. Alright. Pause. Connection. Alright, so I just want to point out, like it's going to be said in practically almost every video that I'm going to be seeing here, everything that we see here is still in development. It is subject to change. I swear to all this whole day I've been hearing that so much that it's just like it clicks. But anyway, we're going to move in on Red Mage's skills. And the first thing that we get is called Riposte, which is a weapon skill. It deals an unexpected damage with a potency of 130. That's not too shabby. Apparently, this action upgrades to Enchanted Riposte if black mana and white mana are at 30 or more. Okay, so I guess that essentially when building up your gauges, it affects the skill that you have to use as far as the weapon skills are concerned. That's for level 1, that's pretty interesting. Though in the long run, when you think about it, I guess it makes sense that you would get that first. Here I thought it would be a spell. But we do have Jolt, which is the level 2, the first spell that we have, and of course Dual Cast, the actual trait that enables us to cast pretty much the next spell at a shorter time, pretty much instant. And here we are with Jolt, which has a cast time of 194. That's not too bad. That's not too shabby. That's actually a lot lesser than Black Mage's fire, for what I remember. Fire was like two seconds. That's almost 2 seconds. This is almost 2 seconds right here, and it has the same amount of damage potency. That's actually pretty interesting. That's pretty legit right there. And it increases both black mana and white mana by 3. That's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And then we have Ver Thunder. Oh, wow. That is quite the cast time. That is quite the cast time. But holy crap, a potency of 300? What? I'm sorry, excuse me? For a level 4 spell? That's more than freaking what Black Mages was capable of doing in early levels. I have no idea what to say to this. I don't know who in the world is texting me. Wow. I'm trying to think on exactly what would the potency be if you had like a single stack of fire. I'm seriously trying to remember what that was. Because fire is a potency of 180. So it just makes me think that is freaking ridiculous. Increases the black mana by 11, and also another additional effect is that it has 50% chance of becoming Verfire ready. Okay, that's interesting. Corpse Core, or Core, I think. Go back. Oh, this is the rush skill. I do believe that was the gap closer skill that pretty much lets you close in. I wonder why you would actually need that in such an early level. Huh. But it does a potency of 130 for a recast time of 40 seconds. I wonder if that's any good for just the actual amount of potency. Then we have Ver Arrow, which is again, it's a white magic spell that deals wind damage of 300 and has a 50% chance of becoming Ver Stone. What in what is with all this nonsense? Tether, vines target and all nearby enemies. Do we really need this? Like, what actual reason do we have for this skill? And the MP cost is just insane. Sheba, you need to stop. You need to stop or you're going to be leaving. Deals, what is this? Scatter? Okay, so this is an AoE spell with a recast time of 1.94 seconds. Okay, does a potency of 100 to target and all enemies nearby. This also increases the black mana and white mana at the same time. Has an additional effect of enhance scatter. Oh, well, that's interesting. I don't know about that MP cost though. What was Fire 2's MP cost? I do believe that's a lot more. I do believe Fire 2's is a lot more. So far, it's Red Mage's MP cost on spells is not too bad. Still questionable though. Then we have our traits. Then for fire. Okay, so let's take a look. See here. Deals a fire deals fire damage with a potency of 270. Increases only executed while Verifire ready. Okay, I get what I see here now. So pretty much, Jolt will essentially be your go-to skill if you're in lower levels, of course, which then transitions into either of the two choices that you have here, and then in some cases, about 50%, you will get a proc to use either. Not really either, but it's just like you get a proc to use Verifire, which is essentially the next stage, I guess, in terms of damage than your first tier Jolt that you start with. So pretty much you do one spell, then you insta cast the next spell, and then you proc a more powerful spell that's higher than Jolt to start with. Then you can probably go back to using Ver Thunder. That's what I'm thinking. May not be the case, but it's pretty sound. It's pretty sound. And then we have Verstone, the white magic side, and I am not even going to bother pronouncing that word. Deals a attack potency of 10. I do believe this is our weapon skill that we use to pretty much expend all of our mana in order for us to deal damage in melee range. It also has an enhance, and then of course we have the skill, the backstep. Okay, does about the same damage of the gap closer. Only has a recast. Okay, that's weird. Why is the gap closer the one that has 5 extra seconds and it's not the same as displacement? That makes no sense. They should be of the same cooldown time. What do we have here? Fletcher? I'm sorry. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 420 with a recast time of 25 seconds? What? What? Hello? What kind of freaking skill is this? Okay, this is at level 45, so I guess that kind of makes sense, but it's just like there is absolutely nothing that I can think of with a cooldown that is at that level that deals that much damage. Like, hello. Then acceleration. Recast time of 35 seconds ensures the next for Thunder. Okay. So it is an immediate proc. This is pretty much our sharp cast, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this is pretty much our sharp cast, but is made specifically for Thunder and for Era. Oh my God, just like. Okay, Redoublement deals an attack potency of 100, and then Milunet, I mean. What is this? Combo potency. Okay, so this combos off of that skill, in which name I am not going to pronounce, or word. You would essentially need to make sure that you have up to about maybe 90 of your gauge filled, if not that, all of it. Deals an unexpected damage with a potency of 60 to all enemies in a cone before you. Oh, so this is a weapon skill. Okay then, so we can just immediately use this. But that TP though, holy crap. Oh, okay. And we have a cure. We have a cure. I should have known. It's just that they have their own specific cure. The only thing about it is, it's just that apparently Red Mage feels the need to have, or just needs to be fancy with their spells and adding ver before it. Just can't even freaking call it cure, you have to call it ver. But let's take a look. See here, it has a cast time of 194, 1.94. I don't know why I keep on saying that. The MP cost of 600 for that much? Are you kidding me? What in the world is physic? I am sorry. Wait a second. Something doesn't seem right about that. Physic, if I remember correctly, had about 400 in potency, and the MP cost was actually a lot less than this. So what the heck am I looking at? That is absolute garbage. Fix this. I mean, sure enough, you're not really going to be using it, but like, what? And let's see here. I'm not even going to bother even trying saying that. But it's a level 56 skill. I do believe from the looks of the icon, this is pretty much a cooldown, similar to Fletche, but has about like 6 blades raining down. Does a potency of 300 for 45 seconds? My God, that is just so disgusting. And then we have Embolden, increases own magic damage dealt by 20% and physical damage dealt by nearby party members by 10%. Excuse me. Both effects are reduced by 20% every second. Okay, wait a second. I do believe I read this one off of subreddit for Final Fantasy XIV. But I wonder exactly what the skill is. For what I can see here, we're already at the very end. So I can only think that this is actually from the job action trailer, that one skill that we couldn't pinpoint what it actually did, which would make sense. That would make sense. As far as the cooldown itself, it's actually pretty nice. I can definitely see that used in Raid 2. Modification doubles rate at which balance gauge increases. This icon looks familiar. Oh, I know what this is. This is actually the skill that was used in the job action trailer when he was refilling his the balance gauge. So yeah, that makes sense. But it resets corpse of court and displacement recast timers. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. Okay, that is pretty good. All combos are canceled upon execution of modification, though that confuses me. The hell do they mean by that? Enhanced Jolt switches to Jolt 2. Okay. We have Jolt 2, which, to be perfectly honest, I do believe that skill. Let's go back to that. I do believe that spell is that explosion-like spell that I saw in the live letter that Yoshi P was using. Because it's red. And no other reason. Deals unexpected damage for 240. Not too shabby. Pretty much transition. Would Jolt 2 transition into Thunder of Her Arrow? Maybe. It might. It probably would. And we have a raise. Guys, the Red Mage has a raise. Now, Black Mages are just alone in their corner. Actually, wait a second. I do believe we... Was there a raise for, like, Crossroll? Though I really don't see any reason for a Black Mage to really have a raise. I mean, sure enough, they're freaking mana batteries. They can freaking get their mana on back real quick and raise someone easily. Actually, that's disgusting. That makes me wonder. And then we have Enhanced Jolt 2, grants impactful. deals unexpected damage with a potency of 270. I can only guess that that trait has something to do with this spell here. And then we have our ultimate spells, which coincidentally is literally the last two things that we get at level. Should have expected this. Ver Flare, quaint. Deals a fire damage with a what? What? Just what am I looking at right now? What the fuck is with that potency? Are you absolutely okay? Though that still does not entirely beat Foul in terms of potency, because that is like 650. So I guess that's fine for seeing as Black Mage will still kind of sort of be the best in terms of damage. I still need to look at freaking Summoner though. Fucking Bahamut, son. Enchanted Redoublement. Wait a second. Okay, so you have to combo that. Verholy is of the same potency. That should have actually. I shouldn't be surprised by that. I really shouldn't. And then we have our actual enhanced skills. This does 200 to all. This does 100. Combo potency at 470. What? What? Potency of 210. Okay. These potencies are getting ridiculous. I have no idea what to say to this. The numbers, though, again, all these numbers are subject to change, but it's just like one part of me wishes that they don't change. Unless they're going to be making it just a wee bit higher. Just a wee bit higher. That would be nice. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and transition into Mr. Happy's video of the Red Mage, which I do believe I have right here. Actually, wait a second. No, it's that one. But yes, I cannot stress enough. I shall point out again to go ahead and click that link for Ms. Tech's video, the original source video. Give her a like, give her some love. Thank her for all that she has done, taking the time and giving us all this information. Definitely appreciate it. So with that in mind, I'm not going to try and waste too much time. We're going to go ahead and head into Red Mage and take a look at what Mr. Happy has to say about this. We're going to have some hands-on gameplay.
Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here.
Oh wow!
We're going to be going over the basics to the Red Mage job, which is coming out in Final
Don't do that. Don't. Oh, stop.
Stormblood. Now the footage you're seeing here and the gameplay that I'm going to be talking about actually comes from my recent trip.
The lag be real, son. The lag be real. What in the world is with this nonsense?
To the media tour for San Francisco, where I got my hands on Stormblood early. I didn't get to do too much. I had a lot to record, so there's probably going to be a few things off here and there. But keep in mind, all the numerical things and whatnot, they're pretty much all subject to change all the way up to June 16th anyway.
Yep.
Any animations, any numerical values, any way abilities even interact with other skills, all that's subject to change. So don't take it as definitively this is how it will be, but at least this is what our idea is of it now.
I love the animation of that cooldown.
Theme is to raise both their white and black mana in equal balance, expending them with swift melee strikes when the bar is raised high enough. Keep in mind, you still have MP as a resource. White and black mana are an additional...
Speaking of MP, what the heck happened to his?
Now, one of the core aspects of Red Mage is that whenever a spell is cast, the next spell will have no cast time.
I don't know what is going on with your MP.
Basically, it just means that every other spell you do...
You need to put some refresh on that shit.
So your basic spell is Jolt, which just does some damage. It's got slightly lower cast time than the global cooldown, and it's basically just used to proc dual cast. Jolt can also proc Impact, which allows you to cast that instead. Pretty much you only use Impact when you need to get a dual cast proc and you have an Impact proc waiting for you.
What the fuck is going on?
So like I said, the goal is to raise
Okay.
black and white mana. How are you going to do that? Well, when you have these dual cast procs, you'll want to cast either Ver Thunder or Ver Arrow. So both of these abilities have super long cast times, but Ver Thunder raises your black mana, while Ver Arrow raises your white mana. Now, each of them also has a chance of proccing another ability. For Ver Thunder, you have a 50% chance of proccing Ver Fire. And for Ver Arrow, you have a 50% chance of proccing Ver Stone. Basically, Ver Fire and Ver Stone are similar in all regards. They even have the same cast time as Jolt. But they
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
Black or white mana. Black mana for Ver Fire and white mana for Ver Arrow. And I know that the word Ver is going to be burned into your head by the time this video is done.
It was already burned in my head from the freaking last video.
Let's just use Ver Thunder as an example in this one. You cast Jolt for the dual cast proc, and then you cast Ver Thunder. If Ver Fire procs, you'll use Ver Fire next. If Ver Fire doesn't proc, but Impact procs, you'll use Impact next. If neither procs, you return to Jolt. Now, even more confusing is when you consider what else happens if Ver Fire procs. If Ver Fire procs and you use Ver Fire, you will get a dual cast proc, in which case you can immediately go over into Ver Arrow and then follow the same rule set. It sounds super confusing, but ultimately it just comes down to a priority system. And it's not as
not really, to be honest,
as it is to say out loud.
It's actually pretty simple.
I have to say Ver before everything. And you just want to
I'm pretty sure by the time I actually get the job in my hands, I'm not really going to have a hard time figuring out how it works.
And keep in mind,
I'm actually starting to realize just how easy this. Oh wow! Look at that crit. What?
So once you've accumulated both 80
what did that crit on?
Black mana, you need both of them to be above 80 at the same time. You're going to dash in with Korakor. Now, this is a gap-closing ability, but that's not its only function. It does do a bit of damage. So, while you don't need to use Korakor if you're already in melee range, it does do some damage, so you might as well use it. Now that you're in melee range, you're going to quickly execute enhanced versions of Riposte, Zwerhu, and Redoublement. So butchered. If you have at least 80
You're not alone.
Black mana when
I wasn't even going to try.
All three skills will become enhanced, making them have significantly shorter global cooldowns. Enhanced Redoublement also procs both Ver Holy and Ver Flare. Now, while both of them are procs, casting one of them will completely remove the proc, so you can't cast them both back to back.
I am still concerned by your
So how do you make that decision? Well, both have the same potency, but if you cast the correct one, then you'll instantly get a proc for Ver Fire or Ver Stone, depending on which you use. If your black mana is higher than your white mana, then you'll use Ver Holy to get a proc. If your white mana is higher than your black mana, you'll use Ver Flare. Now, I'm actually wondering what happens if you cast them both at the same value. I think if you cast them both and they're both at the exact same value, then it's 100% regardless. Or maybe you don't meet the condition at all. I don't think that ever happened in my play session, now that I think about it.
That would actually be kind of innocent.
It actually is the very first thing that happens in this video.
Interesting.
So I noticed that the very first thing that happened in the video is I started with 100, and they both fell to the same amount, and when I used Ver Flare, it didn't actually give me a proc. So I guess if they are the exact same value, you don't have a 100% chance of getting a proc. If you still have a base chance of getting a proc, I think it's 30%, but you just lose your chance if they're exactly the same. So I guess flub it up a little bit so it's slightly different. Also, once you're done with the melee combo, you'll likely use Displacement to jump back to range. Again, jumping back isn't necessary if you just want to stay in melee range.
Jesus Christ, 8K?
But Displacement does do damage, so it's a potency loss if you aren't using it. Now, in terms of AoE,
wait a second, I didn't catch that.
Two abilities that they use for AoE. They have the Scatter spell, which generates both black and white mana and does some AoE. It also sometimes grants bonus black and white mana, so sometimes it generates it a little faster.
God, that looks disgusting.
Which is a melee attack, and I know it's a butcher. I'm so sorry.
I can only think of just...
Without enough white or black mana, it's pathetic. When enhanced with at least 30 black and white mana, it does a bit more damage. In terms of all global cooldowns they can use, they have Fletch. Oh, God, it's so bad, my pronunciation. Range single target, 25-second cooldown, and... I probably did a lot worse. Don't worry about it. So sorry. Ranged AoE, 45-second cooldown. Speaking of cooldowns, they have some offensive cooldowns, and they have some raid utility in their cooldowns as well. So the first one they have is Acceleration, which ensures that their next Ver Thunder or Arrow will trigger their respective procs. 35-second cooldown, so it's good for ensuring some bonus potency and generation of mana, and it's pretty frequent. Manification is another one which doubles all of your current mana values. Basically, using it when both manas are at least 40 will double them to 80, making the red mage ready to dash in for the melee combo. Now, just to make sure you're ready to dash in, it also resets the cooldowns of Core and Displacement, just to make sure that they're off cooldown. Because you're doubling your mana, there's a good chance those two abilities aren't available yet again.
I can only think that they probably freaking made that party MP refresh for casters just for the freaking red mage.
Emboldened raises the red mage's magic damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds, and nearby party members' physical damage dealt by 10% for 20 seconds. Now, every 4 seconds, 20% of that buff is lost. So after 4 seconds, it goes down to 16% magic damage and 8% physical damage, etc., etc. This makes this move ideal because it says that the red mages is just magic damage, so it's most ideal to use it right after finishing a melee combo, so you can have the full buff for Verholy and Verflare, whichever you choose, and then move into the rest of your magic spells. That's how I imagine it being used, at least.
Though the thing is that your weapon skills are, in turn, using your intelligence.
Making fun of Tribind and Freeze for their uses outside of PvP. They've had their moments to shine. But now Red Mage
I don't believe just the weapon skills actually fall under magic damage.
It literally is the same as a Tribind.
It's kind of confusing.
Hits a target and then binds everything around it. And I'm seeing a lot of these heavy bind knockback stuff in kits. So it might be possible that this stuff is more useful in the expansion, but I mean, this is literally just like Tribind. Cost MP has a hard cast time, sits on the GCD. It's Tribind, but for Red Mage. So hopefully that's useful. They also have Cure. Yes, they gave Red Mage a cure. It's basically the equivalent of, Black Mage cross-classing Physic back in
Not even remotely. I'm pretty sure that is not the case.
You're not a healer. Don't do it. Maybe you can be the hero and save the tank when everybody is, dying left and right, and you're trying to wait for the healer to take the res or something, but you're not a healer, please. Speaking of raising, you also have Ver-Raise. It's a combat res. Finally, we move into the caster crossroll. Now, there is quite some utility in here. You have Addle, which is the int/mind part of Virus. They took the physical part and sent that over to the melee crossroll. You have Break, which is damage plus a heavy effect. You have Drain, which is damage plus a self-heal. You have Diversion, which is a Quelling Strikes. And then you have Lucid Dreaming, which is basically Shroud of Saints. That reduces your current enmity, or cuts it in half, and gives you some MP generation.
We're not going to be using that, right, Black Mages?
Where casters get both diversion and
we have no reason to use that.
Quelling Strike is good for a different reason. It's good for like the big burst. But if you just time Lucid Dreaming with your big burst and cut your enmity in half, that could work in theory. I'm just wondering if the enmity generation is going to be so high that cutting it in half at that point, is not cutting a very big value in half. It's like saying that with Quelling Strikes you'll generate over 1,000 enmity, you'll only generate 500. But with Lucid Dreaming, if you don't use it by the time that you're at 300 enmity, then, it's not going to be good for you. So you basically only shred 150 enmity. I'm curious to see how it ends up working out in terms of the PvE landscape.
That animation, I swear, still
works
gets
as
me.
it did back before. It's one thing worth noting, though. Swiftcast removes cast times from your ability. So if you use Swiftcast on an ability, I don't believe you'll get a dual cast proc. Dual cast needs to proc off ability.
That would kind of make sense, so given how the inner workings of the Red Mage. It would definitely conflict with Red Mage's procs.
Sorry, Black Mages, I'm leaving that to you. You have Shortcast, which was buffed to also prevent some forms of CC for 10 seconds, and Erase, which allows you to remove dots from an ally, but not yourself. So overall, Red Mage was a lot of fun. It wasn't as complicated as I thought it was going to be. It's a lot to take in.
It didn't appear to be.
Thrown onto a level.
It doesn't appear to be now.
Yeah, go for it. But honestly, I didn't think it was that complicated to figure out. I mean, it seemed like Yoshi P already had the full rotation down. He walked over to me, and I was still trying to figure it out. I had only been on it for a couple minutes, and one of my manas was way higher than the other. And he walks over every time. He goes, not balanced. And I was like, are you saying the job's OP? And he's like, no. White mana, black mana, not balanced. And I was just like, yeah, guys, I screwed up. I'm
not
sorry.
balanced, my friend.
And so, I mean, it seems very easy
to
get into. And then it also
let me tell you that
so I'm curious
some of these jobs don't look very balanced themselves, sir.
Pretty decent utilities, and it's got a fun play style. So I'm looking forward to Red Mage. I think a lot of people will enjoy it, and I hope you're looking forward to it on June 16th. But on that note, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for all the latest Stormblood.
Go ahead, guys. Make sure to do that.
I got it. Until next time, everyone, take care.
Oh, right, and there is Samurai. We can go ahead and transition into that if we want to. But nah, we'll be saving that for the next video. Wow, 35 minutes. Kind of close there. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and brief overview and reaction on some of the skills and essentially the tooltips of the Red Mage. Pretty much looking over the abilities and so on and so forth. Again, make sure to click on the links in order to give them a like and subscribe. In the long run, as far as my overall thoughts on Red Mage, I will of course be playing it. It's most likely going to be one of the jobs that I will be playing during the story along with Samurai. Probably going to do Red Mage for Alamigo and Samurai for Oathard. It just feels right. But in the long run, the job looks very interesting. It really does. It was interesting when I first saw it in live letter, and it was interesting when I first saw it in the reveal. So I will definitely be picking it up. I mean, regardless, I plan on leveling all jobs to level 70, so that's not going to change. But other than that, guys, I shall see you in the video for Samurai, and after that, we shall be looking towards the tanking role, starting with Paladin. So that is something to look forward to. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. We got the Samurai coming up next. And you have a nice day, nice night, nice morning, nice afternoon, all of that nonsense. With that, chaos out.